Hey, what's happening? I gotta make a video about this lady. This lady's getting on my nerves, right? Oh boy, YouTube. Okay, she says she's debunking the lies told by the Proud family, and I guess this is a Disney show which I don't watch, but the Disney show is trying to say that slaves helped build America, and this lady is trying to debunk and saying slaves didn't do nothing. Check out.
Located in America were located in the South.
Fighting for America's freedoms, even though we remained America's slaves. Built this country. The descendants of slaves continue to build this. Slaves built this country.
No, they didn't. So let's move on to part 2 of how slaves did not build this country. So let's talk about how this country.
Let me pause for a second because this lady's getting on my nerves. Okay. She's trying to take away. Listen to this. Okay. Hey, Google. Did slaves help build America?
On the website class.org, they say, Black labor has been foundational to the growth of America and our economy. Enslaved people built the country's early infrastructure and produced lucrative commodities such as cotton and tobacco.
Okay, bitch. You know what infrastructure is? Okay? Infrastructure. Buildings. Roads. Okay? Hang on. Did slaves help build the White House?
On the website archives.gov, they say, on public display at the National Archives Museum, Washington, D.C., 1/12 to 25, 2009, and 2/12,001 to 2/28, 2001. Two of Washington, D.C.'s most famous buildings, the White House and the United States Capitol, were built in large part by enslaved African Americans.
Slaves helped build this country, bitch. You think you're doing something. You hurting your own race, you dumb biatch. One more question. Google, did slaves help build America? I think I ought to ask
On
that.
the website class.org, they say, Black labor has been foundational to the growth of America and our economy. Enslaved people built the country's early infrastructure and produced lucrative commodities such as cotton and tobacco.
Google, did slaves help build buildings in America?
On the website whitehousehistory.org, they say, enslaved labor augmented many 19th century construction projects, including the addition of the Capitol Dome.
Oh, there's so much. We're debunking you. We're debunking you. So you little kids keep saying, keep going, little kids, because this lady's full of shit. Hey, Google, the slaves helped build houses?
On the website whitehousehistory.org, they say, enslaved laborers participated in every stage of building construction, from the quarrying and transportation of stone to the construction of the executive mansion. They worked alongside European craftsmen, white wage laborers, and other free African American wage laborers.
Did slaves help build railroads?
On the website nps.gov, they say, prior to the Civil War, nearly every railroad in the American South was built using slave labor.
What kind of things did slaves help build?
On the website digitalhistory.a.edu, they say, on larger plantations, masters relied on slave carpenters, bricklayers, blacksmiths, wheelwrights, tanners, tailors, butchers, masons, coopers, cabinet makers, metalworkers, and silversmiths. Large numbers also worked as boatmen, waiters, cooks, drivers, housemaids, spinners, and weavers. On the website kpbs.org, they say, KORNWEIBEL, the entire Southern Railroad network that was built during the slavery era was built almost exclusively by slaves. Some of the railroads owned slaves. Other railroads hired or rented slaves from slave owners.
I guess slaves did build something. So shut up, lady. Shut up. Delete this video because you're full of shit. And leave them kids alone.
Fighting for America's freedoms, even though we remained America's slaves. Built this country. The descendants of slaves continue to build this. Slaves built this country.
No, they didn't.
They
Let's
helped.
move on to part 2 of how slaves did not build this country.
Yeah, they
so
did.
let's talk about how
They
this
helped.
country, which is now known as the United States of America, was built. First, you need shelter like a house. Then you need a place to teach children like a school, a place to worship, a church, followed by roads, buildings, bars, factories, banks, hospitals, railroads, sewage systems, businesses, etc. These places were not built by slaves. One of my biggest
These places were built by slaves. Hey Google, did slaves help build railroads?
.org. On the website nps.gov, they say, prior to the Civil War, nearly every railroad in the American South was built using slave labor.
Shut up, lady.
On the website nps.gov, they say, prior to the Civil War, nearly every railroad in the American South was built using slave labor. During the Civil War, U.S. military railroads employed thousands of African Americans in the strategically important effort of moving men and materials, enabling the North to achieve victory.
Hey Google, did slaves help build roads?
On the website ussconstitutionmuseum.org, they say, hired out enslaved people were already being used by new state governments to build roads, waterworks, and other major infrastructure projects that had arduous and extensive labor demands in hazardous conditions, and often at remote locales.
I'm done with this lady. So yeah, this lady's full of shit. There you go. Slaves did help build this country. Hush up.